Winter is coming, and I'm not talking about presents and candy canes. I'm talking a winter wasteland of death. What do you do if you're stuck in a blizzard? Well, don't worry, because I'm going to save you from an icy death. This is Epic How To Survive a Blizzard. First things first, what happens when you get stuck out in the snow? The two things you gotta watch out for are frostbite and hypothermia. Hypothermia is when your core body temperature dips below 95 degrees Fahrenheit, and if you get cold enough, this will eventually lead to death. In the United States, 1,500 people die from hypothermia every year. Mostly males because they just wander out into the woods doing guy things. Like idiots. Or hunting. The first symptom is shivering. This is your body vibrating to try its darndest to raise your body temperature and keep you alive. Thank you, body. If you've ever shivered uncontrollably, you had mild hypothermia. Congratulations! When you get below 89.6 degrees, your body drops into moderate hypothermia. At this point, you'll start to feel drowsy and experience mental confusion. You may also experience terminal burrowing, where you feel a primitive need to burrow to try to keep warm. Oftentimes, people who have died from hypothermia are found under beds or behind dressers. If your body gets below 82.5 degrees Fahrenheit, then you're gonna pass out. The coldest anyone has ever gotten and survived was 55.4 degrees Fahrenheit when a 7-year-old girl from Sweden almost drowned in a frozen lake. But you're not as badass as that little girl, so anything under 68 degrees will probably kill you. Now, one of your body's defenses against hypothermia is to draw all the warm blood to the center of your body and away from your extremities. And this leads to the second danger to your well-being: frostbite. This is when the water in your fingers, toes, nose, or ears actually freeze solid and damages your flesh. The first symptoms of frostbite occur when the surface of your skin freezes. This will make your skin feel itchy or painful, and you'll see red, white, or yellow patches appear. But if you get warm, you can usually recover without any permanent damage. Second-degree frostbite is when the skin freezes through, but the muscles underneath are still warm. It will take a month to recover, and you basically have to regrow your skin, and this could lead to permanent nerve damage that would prevent you from feeling temperature ever again, perpetuating a vicious cycle of frostbite. Third-degree frostbite occurs when the muscles, tendons, and nerves all freeze straight through. The affected area will swell up and turn black and purple as the fingers and toes fill with frozen blood. Usually fingers and toes will have to be amputated before they turn gangrenous and kill you. Or if you're lucky, they'll just fall off on their own. Save you a lot of time. So, now that we know all the dangers, I'm going to tell you how to avoid them. If you're driving your car, you're going to want to have a few things handy just in case the worst happens. Snow chains, an emergency kit, extra clothes, and a signal light are all a good idea to have if you're driving in snowy or icy terrain. Even with snow chains, it's easy to skid off the road or get covered in snow and get stuck, so take your time on icy roads, you little speedy speederson. If your car goes off the road or gets stuck, your best bet is to stay in your car. And leave on your hazard lights so any cars passing by know that you're in trouble, or at the very least they don't run right into you because they can't see that you're under the snow. However, don't think you can just turn on the car, blast the heater, and relax, because you're going to run out of gas real quick. To conserve that gas, it's better to only run the heater once an hour. Also, whenever you run the engine, you need to check the tailpipe to make sure it's clear of snow. If it gets covered, then the carbon monoxide in the exhaust will be forced into the interior of the car, putting you into a deep sleep that you will never, ever wake up from. But what about if you're one of those crazies that wants to go camping in the middle of the winter and then gets lost? Then what? Then what, huh? Obviously, if you're going to go out into the wilderness, you want to be prepared. Down jacket, winter gloves, hats, several pairs of socks, and waterproof shoes are all a must. You're also going to want to be prepared with lots of foods high in protein and fat. Walking through the snow can burn up to 500 calories per hour, and if you get lost in a snowstorm, you're going to want as many snacks on hand as possible. You know what I'm talking about? Also, you're going to want to dress in layers. This is so that if you do start to get warm, you can take off clothes rather than sweating under the heavy coats. Dehydration actually makes hypothermia set in faster, so keep hydrated.
But Joe, can't I just eat some snow if I'm dehydrated? It's just frozen water.
You could do that, but only if you want to die. It's much better to melt the snow first so you aren't lowering your core body temperature. If you use up all the water in your canteen, feel free to fill it with the snow. Then place the canteen inside your clothes between layers. That way it's not directly against your skin cooling you down, but it still gets enough heat from your body to melt into water. See? Layers help. We're learning together. You're going to want to do this throughout the day as snow is 10 times less dense than water, so filling up a 10-ounce canteen will only get you an ounce of water. It's also a good idea to carry a metal container to melt snow over a fire. Speaking of which, how do you make a fire in the snow? Well, it isn't easy. Try looking under trees to find the driest twigs and branches that you can. Then, use the biggest branch as a base to create what's called a fire plow. Start by cutting a groove in the base and place tinder at one end. Then, use a second stick and plow up and down the groove to create friction. Sexy, sexy friction. Any sparks you create will go straight into the tinder pile, and with a little bit of luck, you've got a fire going that's protected from the cold, wet ground underneath you. Great! So, you have a fire and water, but if the sun is going down, you're gonna need to make a shelter. Guess what? You can do this even if you're surrounded by snow without a tree in sight. Start by digging a hole into the snow on the side of a hill, discarding the extra snow downhill. You're gonna wanna carve into the snowbank at an uphill angle. This will create a sleeping area above the doorway, which is important since hot air rises, so you'll stay warmest at the top of your cave. You're also going to want a skinny branch to create some ventilation holes so you don't choke and die on your own exhaled carbon dioxide during the night. Once you're inside, pack snow in the entrance to seal yourself inside. Snow actually works as a really good insulator, so this should keep you warm enough to survive the night. You could also try finding a real cave, but that's where bears live, so keep an eye out for that. Alright, now, we made it through the night. Now it's time to get back to your life. To make the journey easier, you can make your own snowshoes. Try to find a couple flexible branches and bend them into a pear shape. Use cords or torn strips of clothing to tie the ends together. Then, lay smaller branches over the top to create a large flat surface. You'll want to interweave the branches to make sure they stay together. Do the same thing to create a strap for your foot and you can start hiking in no time. If you find a creek or a river, you can follow it downstream until you find civilization. You can do all of that. Or, you can go back to that cave, train that friggin' bear, and you ride that guy all the way back home to your lady. Or man, be like, I'm the Bear King! And make sweet, sweet love. There you go, you made it home! You survived blizzards and hypothermia, you rode that friggin' bear, and he's your best friend for life. That's awesome! And if you're still scared of winter, don't worry about it. I've provided you with all the necessary skills to do this every single year. Tradition, I'm Joe Beretta. This has been Epic How To.
Let us know what topic you guys think we should break down next in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe.